Welcome to the Dogs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
Hey, what's up, Browns fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Dogs Podcast. Josh All, your host today. It's Victory Tuesday. We're still celebrating the second Browns win of the 2025 season in dominant fashion, 31-6 over the Miami Dolphins on Sunday. So we're going to talk about more things from that game, some narratives, storylines, all that kind of stuff that has come out since Sunday. We got some voicemails to play from some new Dog Pack members, which is awesome. Also have a voicemail from a longtime Dog Pack member and a previous guest host on the Dogs Podcast who we need to get back on here at some point, maybe even during the bye week coming up, which is not this week, like a lot of people seem to have, mistaken after the win last week. Everybody got real hyped in the win, said, yeah, we're going into the bye with a win. Nope, we got the New England Patriots on tap for Sunday, and then it'll be the bye week after that game. So we're going to talk about all that stuff today. Before I do, like I just mentioned, we've got voicemails from new Dog Pack members. If you want to become a Dog Pack member, and I highly recommend that you do, head to jointhedogs.com, become an official Dog Pack member on our Patreon page. It's just $5 a month. It's like you guys are donating a cup of coffee to the show one time, just one time each month. That's it. You don't even know it's gone, but it helps out the show more than you know, and we appreciate all of our Dog Pack members. Sync up with the private Discord, get in there, 24/7 conversations going on, talking about the Browns, talking about anything. We get marriage advice and life discussions and all kinds of things going on in there. It is a really, really great group of close-knit, diehard Browns fans. We all support each other, we all love each other, and it is a great place to be. So that is jointhedogs.com. Okay, the first voicemail I want to play today comes in from Jordan.
What's going on, dogs? This is Jordan from Columbus, brand new to the Dogs Podcast. I had this prediction about Shador. I think he'll come in during this Dolphins game, or he'll come in during the next week's game. I don't know who we play, but he will play. And he's going to show us some life. We have no life. We're dead. We're drained. We look terrible. I'm not saying he's Dillon Gabriel, but he can't make a pass over 10 yards. Shador's our guy. He'll air it out. He'll show us some life. He's going to celebrate. Our defense will feed off of our offense because of Shador. Shador bring our offense some life after celebrating. Myles Garrett's going to come in, feeding off of Shador's energy. I seen this clip about Shador and Myles Garrett. Shador was like, I want to fill one of your swats. And Myles is like, I don't want to have to hurt you. You young. We're going to need you. And we are going to need him. Go Dogs. Woof, woof.
Well, Jordan, thank you for the voicemail, first of all. And second of all, we all know now, obviously, Jordan sent that voicemail in last week before the Miami game. Didn't have a show to play it on before then, so we're getting to it today. But so we know now that Shador Sanders did not actually come in during the Miami game, and that led to a lot of controversy online, over Twitter and everywhere about whether or not Shador should have been put in during garbage time. Blake made the point. We talked about it Sunday night. Blake made the point that, Dillon Gabriel is not some 10-year veteran who doesn't need the reps and can just come out and put the backup in to finish out the game and all that kind of stuff. Dillon, first of all, has never won a game in the NFL, so this was his first victory. It was at home, all that kind of stuff. And it's only his third game starting in the NFL, so he still needs reps. He needs those reps on how to close out a game, on how to do those types of things, which leads me to Jordan's point then about Dillon and his ability to throw the ball down the field whatsoever. When passing over 10 yards, okay, let's look at this. I got some stats here. So far in his 3 starts, Dillon Gabriel has completed just one pass in 3 games over 20 yards, and he's only attempted 4 passes over 20 yards in 3 games. But here's where it gets, that's not going to be a recipe for any sort of explosive offense right there. But this is where the Browns offense is just dying. And it's the intermediate range of the field. I talk all the time. You listen to anybody who talks about quarterbacks, evaluations, draft talk, all that kind of stuff. You're looking for quarterbacks who can effectively attack the middle of the field, the intermediate areas of the field, that between 10 to 20, 10 to 19 yard range. Dillon Gabriel so far in three starts has completed just 11 passes in 3 games to that intermediate range of the field. He is 11 for 28, well under 50% throwing to the intermediate area of the field, and 28 pass attempts to that area over 3 games, especially when you had 58 dropbacks, 52 attempts just a week ago, and you only have 11 completions in that part of the field. That is not good. Of his 98 total pass attempts so far this season, 98 pass attempts, 66 of those have been less than 10 yards. That is 67% of Dillon Gabriel's throws have been less than 10 yards. You cannot move an offense that way, not with any sort of consistency or efficiency. And Sunday showed like we relied heavily upon penalties from the Miami Dolphins to bail us out and give us first downs and get us down the field in a lot of situations. It was not the offense generating first downs, moving the ball down the field. The only thing we can do is run the ball with Quinshon Judkins. I can't even say that the only thing the Browns offense can do is run the ball. Period. Stop. That is not true because we can't. We can't run it with Dylan Sampson. We can't run it with Jerome Ford. We can only run the ball if it's Quinshon Judkins. God forbid anything happen to Quinshon Judkins, and this offense will not be able to generate more than 6 points a game. Not running the way it currently is. So I watched Jake Burns' Browns film breakdown on Dillon Gabriel from the game on Sunday. If you guys have not checked out Jake, I recommend it. Obviously, I mean, I work with Jake. I'm friends with Jake. He's a good dude, and he does excellent work. BrownsFilmBreakdown.com. Go over there to Substack, subscribe, all that stuff. It's awesome. Dillon Gabriel, watching through what Jake put together and what he broke down, he's missing a ton of stuff. Dillon Gabriel is leaving so many yards, and not just yards, but so many points on the field. We all saw, I think, very clearly early in the game, it was first quarter. I can't remember if it was I think it was the second drive when we kicked the field goal, whatever the case may be. He had Jerome Ford wide open on a wheel route down the sideline, the left sideline to the end zone. Didn't even see him. He didn't even see him. And what's tough about this is Dillon Gabriel, left-handed quarterback. He's dropping back in the pocket, and he's not, you think about your right-handed quarterbacks typically is what you see in the NFL. They drop back, and where's their back? Well, it's to the left side because they're right-handed, so they're facing the right side. Dillon Gabriel's the opposite. He's facing the left side. Jerome Ford is running down the left sideline. It's right there, clear as day, and he doesn't even see it. And Jake breaks down how reading the cornerback on the play, coming in with Jerry Jeudy, should have told Gabriel immediately, just throw the ball out to Jerome Ford on the sideline. Not saying that he was guaranteed to be that wide open for a walk-in touchdown, but that's what it ended up being, and he definitely would have been wide open for the catch, no matter what. And what was crazy about that play, and Jake did a really good job, he did like a screenshot freeze on the video, and Dillon Gabriel, he calls it a blind throw. He says Gabriel already makes a decision, and he's going to blind throw this pass to Jerry Jeudy on the in route. And what's crazy about that is when Dillon Gabriel, like when he paused it, Dillon Gabriel's in the process, not of throwing, but of patting the ball. So Dillon Gabriel's currently patting the ball, getting ready to make the throw. Jerry Jeudy is already getting laid out on his route. Like when he froze the frame, there's 2 defenders on Jeudy. He's already run into one guy, and Jeudy is already off of his feet, falling to the ground before Gabriel even cocks his arm to throw the pass. And yet he threw it to Jeudy anyway. Obviously, the ball skips incomplete, and we miss a wide open touchdown. In the second quarter, there was another play, very similar. Quinshon Judkins runs out on a wheel route down the left sideline, same look as with Jerome Ford. Now, it's not a wide open walk-in touchdown like Jerome Ford's would have been, but it's a play where he was wide open for the pass. There was a safety that probably would have come over and at least made an attempt to tackle Quinshon, but Quinshon would have barreled through the guy or made him miss and gotten into the end zone. Like, it was a play that it's not 100% guaranteed touchdown like the Jerome Ford one was, but I'd put it like 85%. And either way, you're getting down to the goal line. All you got to do is dump that ball off on the wheel route to Quinshon Judkins. Again, Dillon missed it, didn't even see it. And he's so wide open. And watching these makes you sick to see what we could be doing in this offense, but what we're just missing because Dillon Gabriel isn't seeing anything. And it goes to what everybody's saying online. I thought this guy was the super computer. He was the elite processor of information, and all this stuff is what the Browns have told us over and over and over since they drafted him back in April. Well, where is it? Where is this elite processor, this elite identifier of, routes and things on the field? He's not doing it. He's not processing the reads, the pre-snap and the post-snap correctly because he's missing wide open guys based on what the defense is doing post-snap. And Jake breaks down very well how you don't have to be an elite quarterback. These aren't plays that elite quarterbacks make and average quarterbacks miss. These are plays that if you just understand what the defense is showing you, make a quick decision and throw the ball to where you should know it needs to go. And Dillon just isn't doing it. And a lot of people still want to say, well, Dillon at least isn't putting the ball in harm's way or throwing intercept. We've got to knock that narrative needs to go away. It needs to go away. We got to stop people. And I'm not saying you guys but I hear it all the time. Well, he's not throwing any interceptions. Have you watched the games? He threw at least 4 or 5 interceptions in the Pittsburgh game. They were all dropped. Okay. He got lucky. And I know ifs and buts and nuts, all that stuff. Doesn't matter. These are terrible, terrible turnover-worthy play throws that he made in Pittsburgh, and he threw 2 interceptions, okay? 2 interceptions against the Miami Dolphins on Sunday. The first one, Jake broke this one down perfectly. It was a terrible process, terrible read by Dillon Gabriel. He predetermined he was throwing the ball to Jerry Jeudy, and he wasn't. He had another guy, I forget who it was on that one, might have been Fannin on a curl route, wide open. He said, nope, I'm throwing to Jeudy no matter what on this play. 2 defenders, one behind Jeudy, one in front, and the guy in front of Jeudy jumped the route, and Jake called it a video game glitch. It was like the ball went right through his body, somehow into Jerry Jeudy's chest. And Jeudy actually made the catch. And we picked up a first down. I don't know how the defender didn't pick it off, but it went right through his arms. He made the play on the ball and everything. It just didn't get picked somehow. It was a terrible process by Gabriel. And then the second one, he did throw an interception on another terrible process by Dillon Gabriel through the pick. Thank goodness a penalty by the Dolphins negated that interception, and it didn't count. But it was still 2 plays where it was like things just go a little differently both ways. You got 2 more interceptions on your stat sheet. And these, obviously they don't count against him in the box score, but they are, evidence of procedural mistakes that Dillon Gabriel is making. So go over and check out brownsfilmbreakdown.com, see what Jake's doing over there. It really gives you a much deeper understanding and insight as to what is going on actually during the games, because we can watch the games and it is easy to just casually watch the game, come away, look at the box score, say, well, Dillon Gabriel didn't play great, but he also didn't turn the ball over. He left a lot on the field, including 2 interceptions. So this kind of leads me to another thing I want to talk about with Dillon Gabriel. I want to talk about the standard that should be set and the expectations that I think fans should have for Dillon Gabriel, or at least what I have for Dillon Gabriel. The Cleveland Browns told you, they told us, they said that this guy was ready from day one to take first team reps. Okay, they said this guy, he's advanced, he understands NFL concepts, he understands the verbiage, he is already leaps and bounds ahead of Shador and all these other guys with his processing and his understanding and all this stuff. He gets first team reps just right away. They just hand it to him. And then after 4 games of the season, okay, just 4 games of the season, the guy that they deemed good enough to start the season for them, to be the starter, Joe Flacco, The Browns said, nope, Dillon's already better than he is. And again, I'm not going back and trying to say that we didn't all also agree with that. I mean, we were ready to see Gabriel over Flacco because Flacco was playing so poorly in this offense. And we'll get to a voicemail that talks a little bit about that here in a minute. But in this offense, Joe Flacco looked washed, just done. Just get him out of here. Anything is better than Joe Flacco, I believe is what we said. But the Browns also, with their actions, told you that Dillon Gabriel is better than Joe Flacco because we're going to bench Joe Flacco. Dillon is ready to start in the NFL. So a lot of people online, again, I see the comments all the time. He's just a rookie making his third start. What are the expectations really for a rookie making his third start? I'm not looking at Dillon as I shouldn't say I'm not just looking at Dillon as a rookie making his third start. Yes, that is exactly what he is. That's exactly what he is. But he is also a quarterback that the Browns said was capable of being a starter in the NFL. Whether he's a rookie or not, that's what they told you by benching the other guy and naming him the starter. Okay? He didn't get thrust into this starting spot because there was an injury to Joe Flacco or anything like that. They actively benched him after just 4 games because they said, this guy is better. Is he better? Is he actually better? I don't know. It's kind of hard to gauge because, again, I don't believe in the offense, number one. I don't believe in the development of players and quarterbacks within the offense. We can have that argument, all that kind of stuff. But no, I don't think he's any better, really. It looks pretty much the same. So my expectations for Dillon Gabriel are to be taking into consideration that he is a third-round rookie making his third start. However, the Browns did deem him worthy of being the starter, an NFL starting quarterback. I expect average quarterback play. That's what I expect. I don't expect this to look like, man, this guy should probably be a second or third string on a depth chart. Like if they said he, one, was worthy of, like I said, first team reps since the very beginning in May. This guy gets first team reps. That's where he is. Okay. You thought he was at that point from day one. All through minicamp, training camp, preseason, he was the guy. He was the rookie that was like, he was the one who's going to be ready. And then after 4 games, you said, he's ready. I expect more than what we're getting. This is the NFL. This is the NFL. This is not some farm league developmental situation. We are an NFL franchise, an NFL team playing NFL games. I expect average NFL level quarterback play from my quarterback that you said could at least give me that. And I don't believe we're getting it. This episode is sponsored by DraftKings Sportsbook. NFL fans, what's your favorite touchdown? For me, it's always the next one because with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, every touchdown could bring you closer to cashing in. From first touchdown score to anytime touchdown props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. Right now, the Patriots are favored by 7 points at minus 106 odds, and the Browns money line is plus 290 to win the game on Sunday. Lines and odds are subject to change, but here's the best part. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Blake and I use DraftKings every week. If you've never tried it, you should definitely check it out. So your team hitting pay dirt pays out to you. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code BROWNS. That's code BROWNS for new customers to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, pass-through of per-wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
So after the game on Sunday, yesterday, Tony Rizzo on ESPN Cleveland, really big show, was talking, posted this on Twitter, and he said that he was at the game on Sunday and he spoke to 2 different separate sources at the game in the stadium. The first one told him that Shador Sanders will start the last 4 games of the season no matter what. So that would be the the Bears, the Bills, the Steelers, and the Bengals. The last 4 games of the season, no matter what, will be Shador Sanders starting for the Browns. And then the other source told him that we could see Shador Sanders starting even sooner. So that was kind of the big news or whatever report coming out yesterday that at least caught my interest. And I wanted to reiterate my mindset. I talked about this Sunday night after the game. I was talking with Blake about this and said my mindset moving forward, because I don't expect this Browns team to be a playoff contender this year, obviously. I think that this is very much we're in a rebuild. We are in a rebuild, whether the Browns are saying that or not. We are in Paul DePodesta's second rebuild in less than 10 years. Good job. Good job, Paul. Your analytics are spot on. Anyway, my mindset for the 2026 Browns heading into next season, because we all believe, at least on this show, probably all you guys watching out there and everything too, you've seen the games. We believe that on the roster, Shador Sanders he's the only one with the potential to be the guy for the Browns at the quarterback position. He's got the talent. He's got the pre-draft analysis, the pre-draft pedigree, all that stuff. You talk to anybody from pre-draft, he was supposed to be a first-round pick. All that stuff still matters in terms of what people thought of his talent level and his potential in the NFL for a franchise. I think that the smart move is to continue to give Shador time to develop, to acclimate to the landscape of the NFL. I'm going to talk about some of this here in a few minutes, about some of these young quarterbacks who come into the NFL and don't really see the success that their team was expecting from them, or that the league or draft analysts were expecting. And they get discarded pretty quickly, and they kind of bounce around a little bit. And eventually, 4 or 5 years down the road, they grow, they mature, they develop. Boom. Now they're eventually, and I'll talk about each one of these guys in a sec, like I said, but they become good NFL starters. I think that not thrusting Shador Sanders into this suboptimal situation right now with an inept offense, with bad offensive line play and no receivers, what do we think he's going to do? Everybody that loves Shador, and I see it all the time, well, he'll go out there and he'll win you the game. With what? With what? What quarterback are you putting into this situation who's just going to win you the game? I mean, especially as a rookie. He's a rookie. He's a young rookie. I think it is the right thing, whether the Browns are doing this intentionally or it's just the way it's playing out. We'll ask that question in a minute. I think letting Shador develop, get some experience on the sideline, get experience through practice every week, going through his meetings, preparing for games as the backup, because you have to know the game plan. As the backup quarterback, you have to know the game plan. You have to prepare as if you are going to play, because at any given moment in that game on Sunday, you could be in the game. You have to be ready. So I think this is great for Shador Sanders to be preparing every week as the backup, knowing that I could be in the game at any point. That is great. Let's do that for the next month or so. We've gotten a couple weeks of it where he's actually been the direct backup. Let's get some more before we really talk about trying to get him in there as the starter or anything right away, because I think he could be the future. I think it makes way more sense to take. We got 2 first-round picks next year. I think it makes way more sense to use those first-round picks on a receiver, a tackle, or I wouldn't be upset to see 2 receivers, because I think that's what we need. I don't know. I haven't really gone through and done a whole lot of draft prep. Obviously, we're still in the first half of the NFL season, for crying out loud. But what I'm hearing from draft analysts so far is that maybe not the most decorated offensive tackle class in 2026. So rather than, if that's the case, and I'm just kind of basing that off what I've heard and read, but if that's the case, I wouldn't want to force an offensive tackle in the first round just because we need it. I would be much more okay using our pick wherever it ends up being, to take like Carnell Tate and then to use the Jaguars pick to take a guy like Chris Bell out of Louisville. Get 2 first-round wide receivers in here that can completely change the complexion of this passing offense. And that gives Shador Sanders as your 2026 starting quarterback, which I believe he should be and could be and all that stuff, weapons. And then he's got Harold Fannin Jr. You still got Jerry Jeudy. But now you've got 2 first-round receivers to bring in here who bring more explosiveness, more big play potential, and just sure-handed guys to throw the ball to. That's what I think they should do, because if we're looking ahead at the quarterback class for 2026 and we're trying to figure out which quarterback the Browns should take in the first round, you are saying Shador Sanders is done. Because if the Browns take a quarterback in the first round, that is their quarterback. Whether he starts the season or not, that guy will be their future at quarterback because they invested that first round pick in him. So are you ready to shut the door completely on Shador Sanders without giving him much of a chance at all? And let's say it plays out the way Tony Rizzo said, and he plays the last 4 games, starts the last 4 games of the season. Who knows what state the team is, the Browns team is in at that point? I don't know. Maybe we've got 3 wins. Maybe we've got 5 or 6. Who knows? Who knows what we're working with? Who knows who's healthy? I don't know. I don't know how it looks, but we saw, to use the Falcons as an example, last year they benched Kirk Cousins late in the season. They put their rookie quarterback into, what was it, the last 2 or 3 games of the season. He had some high moments, he had some low moments, but they also knew no matter what, he was going to be their starter this year because they used a first-round pick on him. I don't know how that's going to be with Shador Sanders. You put him in for the last 4 games, he's going to have some good moments. He's probably going to have some really bad moments. It's not going to be enough to gauge strong yes or strong no on the 2026 decision for Shador Sanders. I think 2026 should be for Shador no matter what. I don't want to use a first-round pick on a quarterback when we have this guy who was already touted as a first-round talent on the roster. I'm not ready to shut the door on Shador Sanders before it was even open. I'd much rather use those first-round picks on weapons because we don't have them. We don't have them, and I'm tired of hearing, oh, well, Joe Flacco looks so much better in Cincinnati just because he has Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Okay, well, if 2 guys make that much of a difference, if you guys watch that Thursday night game where Joe Flacco and the Bengals beat the Steelers, which we'll talk about too here in a minute, if those 2 guys made that much of a difference between how Joe Flacco looked in Cincinnati versus how he looked here, then my goodness, go get me 2 freaking first-round wide receivers and let's see what Shador Sanders can do. So this whole looking forward for Shador Sanders in 2026, is that the mindset of the Browns? That's my mindset. But do they actually view Shador as their potential starter? This is tough for me to gauge because of how the team feels. We've talked at length about this. I've mentioned it. I know I did an episode last week talking about this. I feel like there's a heavy de-emphasis on Shador Sanders from a coaching standpoint. I really do think Kevin loves Dillon. I really believe that. And I can't say with any confidence that Kevin is actually looking at Shador like he's the future over Dillon at this point. I think Kevin very much believes in Dillon, thinks Dillon can be that guy in his offense. I think it's probably more the Shador Sanders future. I think that's probably more of a front office view right now. And again, that could speak to maybe some potential rifting between the two down the road. Because I don't know how many more games we can watch Dillon Gabriel throw 2-yard passes over and over and continue to think he needs to be the starter. So we'll see how it goes. Another thing, talking about these former first-round picks, excuse me, I saw Ken Carman today mention this on his show on 92.3 The Fan. He was talking about Mac Jones. And it's interesting because I was actually going to talk about this myself today, and this is something I've been thinking about. Also, aside from Shador Sanders, next year, rather than using that first-round pick on a quarterback, what about Mac Jones? We have seen, like I said, former first-round picks who maybe weren't ready when they're 21, 22, 23 years old, not ready for the NFL and everything it entails to be thrust into the starting spot and all that stuff. How some of these guys spend years as backups, making spot starts, again, growing, developing, or maybe they just get traded from one team to another, and that's really all it takes. But eventually they become good starters for their NFL teams. Obviously, you got Baker Mayfield. That's the first one that's going to come to every Browns fan mind. He went from Cleveland to Carolina to Los Angeles and now to Tampa Bay. You've got Sam Darnold, went from New York to Carolina to Minnesota, now to Seattle. You've got Geno Smith, who was a second-round pick, not a first-round pick, but he went from the New York Jets to the New York Giants to the Los Angeles Chargers to Seattle and now Las Vegas. Jared Goff was traded from the Rams to the Lions. And Daniel Jones is the most recent one this season, going from the Giants to the Colts. All these guys were pretty much left for dead before they were even 25, 26 years old. Baker Mayfield. Cleveland said not good enough. Carolina said definitely not good enough. They cut him. The Rams said, we're sticking with Stafford. We don't need Baker. And Tampa Bay said, well, we'll bring him in to see, let him compete with Kyle Trask. Wow. And you saw what his career has turned into. Sam Darnold, traded to Carolina, I think they cut him, if I remember correctly. Then Minnesota signs him to be the backup. He gets thrust into the starting spot, and he looks great. But it's questions. Was it Kevin O'Connell? Was it Sam Darnold? Now he's playing very well in Seattle as well. A resurrected career. Geno Smith, we know his story, how he resurrected his career over years. Jared Goff, when the Rams sent him to Detroit, it was like, okay, Detroit took on Jared Goff and his contract and all that stuff, and they're probably going to let him start for a year and a half, and then they're moving on. They're going to draft somebody. They're going to get somebody in here. It's not going to be Goff. Lo and behold, Jared Goff resurrected his career and is now a very good quarterback, got the extension. He is the guy firmly in Detroit. And then Daniel Jones was left for dead after the Giants cut. They released him last year. Minnesota put him on the practice squad, backup, all that stuff. And now this year signed by Indianapolis to go compete with Anthony Richardson. A little bit similar story to Baker Mayfield, right? You sign, hey, here's a little prove-it deal. Come in, see if you can maybe be the starter. Well, he's not just the starter. He looks like he could be a long-term answer for them. Now, I know it's only been 6-7 games or whatever, but it's definitely trending the right direction. So these former first-round picks, they maybe just need some time and some change of scenery, some new voices in their ears, some new guidance, some new coaching, development, all that stuff. And Mac Jones, former first-round pick by the Patriots, obviously was not a good landing spot for any quarterback back then whenever he was taken, and showed some signs last year down in Jacksonville, spot starting for Trevor Lawrence when he was hurt, and now this year playing for Brock Purdy out in San Francisco. It looks like Mac Jones could have an opportunity to be a starter for a team next year. So we'll see. A quarterback room of Mac Jones and Shador Sanders and Dillon Gabriel would not be the worst thing for the Browns in 2026 if they were to get 2 first-round receivers to really help this offense out. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Browns fans, if you're like me, the stresses in life only increase the older you get. Your family, your job, your bank account, just a few things that drive the cycle of stress every day. And if you have people constantly depending on you, it can put a heavy weight on your mental health. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? Why does no one appreciate everything I'm trying to do for them? If these thoughts have ever darkened your day, 1, you're not alone, and 2, I highly recommend talking to someone, and that's where BetterHelp could be the right resource for you. Head to BetterHelp, HELP.com/dogs, DAWGS for 10% off your first month of talk therapy. Just fill out a simple questionnaire and BetterHelp will match you with the best therapist for your needs. And if it's not the right fit, you can switch therapists at any time for no extra cost. BetterHelp is 100% online. You can talk with your therapist on the phone, via face chat, or even through text message. Your therapist will listen, ask questions, and help you see things from new perspectives. So what are you waiting for? Take the first step to making positive improvements in your life. Head to BetterHelp.com/dogs now for 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/dogs for 10% off your first month. This episode is sponsored by Southern New Hampshire University. Browns fans, do you ever feel stuck in your current job? Like if you just had a different degree or some more education in a certain area, you could do something you really want to do. Well, Southern New Hampshire University has the answers for you. Head over to snhu.edu/bark to learn how you can get started on your new career today. SNHU is one of the largest online accredited universities in the United States, and it's radically affordable. Their online tuition rates are some of the lowest in the nation. So seriously, what are you waiting for? Head over to snhu.edu/bark to learn how you can get started on your degree for your new career, 100% online and 100% on your time. snhu.edu/bark. Okay, our next new Dog Pack member, Justin, let's get to your voicemail.
Hi, Justin calling here from New Jersey, longtime Browns fan here, over 30 years. I just want to wonder if we could talk about a little something positive in a sense, just the small fact of what Tomlin said over how, we must be smarter than him because why would you go ahead and do that? But if you really think about it, we traded Joe away and they beat the division leaders, okay? So, he was more worried that he was going to lose to Joe Flacco, right? And we've seen, okay, Joe Flacco is good for a few games, right? But I don't know how well he's going to last, especially at his age, a full season. I mean, there's 11 games left. I would just like to focus a little bit on the fact that, we literally sent him there and then he beat Tomlin after Tomlin made those comments about that. He clearly was worried about it, but I don't think Flacco has a full perseverance in him to go a full season. So I think it was a real big win for us in a sense. And I'm going to be honest, do a little more shine a little more light on positivity. I mean, I'm looking at the schedule here. We have some games we could win. I wouldn't be surprised if we could figure out a little bit on offense, okay? And we have a shot at a wild card spot here going into the playoffs. Let's go, Browns.
Okay, thank you for the voicemail, Justin. You are clearly one of the most optimistic Browns fans. You are of that faction. Wild card? Okay, cool. I love it. I love the energy. Bring that fire. I don't want to rain on the parade, but let's pump the brakes just a little bit. I know we're excited here after a win. And the thing is, Justin actually sent this in prior to the win on Sunday, so he was already optimistic, which is it's kind of crazy coming off of the weeks we'd come off of. But remember, this was the Dolphins, and Blake did the same thing. If you guys remember back after the Packers win in week 3, started saying, hey, let's look at the schedule. We could rattle off this win and that win. If we win in London, we do this and we do that. I tried to pump the brakes on him then too, saying let's just take this 1 week at a time. And that was week 3. Understandably, we didn't have the best, idea of what the teams and what the NFL landscape looked like. Now we're 7 weeks into this thing. So let's do it. Let's go ahead and look at the schedule just real quick. Coming up for the Browns, we are almost to the bye week. Again, it's not the bye week, guys. We are going to New England on Sunday to play the surging hot Patriots. And then after the bye week, we have the Jets. First of all, I'm going to tell you right now, I do not anticipate the Browns being able to beat the Patriots. Spoiler alert for the preview show on Thursday. I will not be picking the Browns to win that game on the road in New England. The Jets, we come out of the bye week. It's another away game. We go to New York. And why do I keep saying away game? Because the defense, we've talked about this. We just saw it on Sunday at home against Miami. Bengals, Packers, and Dolphins. The defense has been elite at home. Ravens, Lions, Steelers, and then the Vikings, obviously on the road in London. Mid at best. Defense is mid at best on the road. So that's why when I say away, I'm kind of giving a little extra percentage to that away team in terms of odds to win the game. But then we go away after the bye week to the Jets. I don't know if there's any away advantage that could give the Jets a possibility to beat us as long as we don't beat ourselves. The Jets are horrible. They are horrible. And then it's at home against the Ravens. Now, the Ravens have the worst, I think it might be the third worst defense in the entire league. But if they have Lamar Jackson back, you you always have to kind of give them the benefit of the doubt when they have Lamar. But that game is at home. So we'll see. That's a toss-up for me. The home game against the Ravens. And then we go out to Vegas to play the Raiders. They look like one of the worst teams in the league right now. Just got shut out. I know it was the Chiefs, but it's not like the Chiefs are the powerhouse that they've been in years past. They're still a very good team. Don't hear what I'm not saying. But they got shut out. That's a divisional game. Shut out. So you got, like I said, Patriots, not sure we can win that game. Jets, we should win. Ravens is a toss-up. Raiders. So right there, I'm thinking maybe 2 to 3 wins in the next 4 games. And that's what Blake said on Sunday, and I agree with it. 2 to 3 wins in the next 4 games. And then you have the 49ers at home. It's a home game. I don't know. Defense could play elite. They could be playing Mac Jones. And maybe they don't. The thing with the 49ers, they've been playing without a lot of their guys because the Browns have a lot of injuries every year, but nobody in the league has more injuries every year than the 49ers. And then we get the Titans at home. I think that's almost a guaranteed win with the way our defense plays at home against a Titans team that has no talent whatsoever outside of their first-round quarterback, who is a rookie trying to figure things out. I think we win that game. And then we go away against Chicago. I'm still not a big Bears believer yet. I'm not a Caleb Williams believer yet. I do like Ben Johnson, their head coach, and that one is on the road. Could be Shador's first game starting if we listen to Tony Rizzo. And then it's Bills, Steelers, Bengals. The point of this is I think there are definitely more wins coming in the second half of the season. I don't think there's enough wins to put us in any sort of wild card conversation. I could be wrong. We could squeak out some wins that we shouldn't get. It's the Browns, though. We know that they are very capable of losing games that they should win as well. So Jets, Raiders, Titans, these games that I'm saying should be wins. There's always the possibility that we fall on our face at some point. I mean, we've got the history of it now. But I do think there are definitely wins coming. And then to Justin's point here about the whole Tomlin, Joe Flacco going there and beating the Steelers, I know, and he kind of mentioned too, like a lot of people do like this trade. I mean, we didn't hate the trade at all. But I see people saying, well, we got a 5th-round pick for Joe Flacco. No, we didn't. That's not true. Remember, it was a pick swap. It was a pick swap for Joe Flacco. So we didn't trade him straight up for a 5th-round pick. We had to send our 6th-round pick with Joe Flacco to get the 5th-round pick. Now, you traded an expiring asset, an old quarterback, along with, you weren't going to have him next year anyway. You already moved on from him. Was that, trading him just to move up from the 6th round to the 5th round? Yeah, okay, that was a fine move. It's also interesting, I believe the stat was no team has traded a quarterback within their division since like 1974 or something like that. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. You guys can fact check me on that in the comments if you want to and let me know for sure. But I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And now the Browns just did it this year. I understand why Mike Tomlin was upset about it, obviously. I mean, Joe Flacco went in there or not into Pittsburgh, but I mean, Pittsburgh went down to Cincinnati and Joe Flacco beat him. He beat him. And we'll have to talk about at some point. We'll have to see how Joe Flacco continues to do in the Cincinnati offense, but he didn't look anything like the Joe Flacco in the Browns offense. And I know they've got Jamar Chase. I know they've got T. Higgins. But he looked significantly better. Not just like he looked better, he looked like a freaking different player completely in their offense versus when he was here just a few weeks ago in ours. So it's going to be something to definitely keep an eye on down there in Cincinnati. All right. A little bit more here to go through. Let's play Derek's voicemail. Haven't heard from Derek Frisbee in a while.
What's going on, guys? This is Derek Frisbee. Hope you guys are doing well. I am certainly not. And I don't think you are if you're a fan of this team, unfortunately. And guys, I'm 23. I know that might sound young to you guys or people listening, but at 23 years old, I'm asking myself, will it ever change? And I don't know. But Kevin Stefanski, the hot button topic. Now, I want to comment on something you had said, Blake, a couple of shows ago. I don't know if this voicemail will get played because it'll be older at this point. But hey, it's the Browns, so nothing changes. But anyway, Blake, I actually agree with just about everything that you had said in your guys' argument there. But my question for you, Blake, and for everybody here, I'm a Stefanski guy. I really don't want to get rid of him. And I think it's important to understand we have had good moments under Kevin. And I think that needs to be noted. But, guys, my question is, we hired Stefanski because of his offense, and we've seen it be successful here in Cleveland. But, guys, can you tell me in the last few years, when have we seen Kevin's offense? 2023 with Joe? It's just not good enough. It's 2025. I'm starting to really wonder what we should do.
Derek, good to hear from you, buddy. I'm glad that you sent in a voicemail. It's too bad Blake's not able to be on these midweek episodes and stuff to answer the question or to speak to it. But, my argument about the whole Kevin Stefanski thing here recently has been that his offense is just no longer capable of high success in the NFL. The NFL has figured him out, and he's unable and or unwilling to adapt or change what he does on offense. Now, Blake's argument, if you guys have been following along, watching the show, Blake's been arguing that Kevin's offense is only bad because we don't have any good players. Give him a good quarterback, give him good tackles and one or two good receivers, and it'll be a great offense again. Okay. Again, my pushback on that is it's never been a great offense. It's only ever been top 10 one time, and it was number 10 in the league in 2023. The highest it's ever been other than 2023, I think it was 16th, either 16th or 14th. I can't remember which. I should have brought those numbers up. And other than those two seasons, Kevin Stefanski's offense is ranked in the 20s or, like last year and this year, dead last. So it has, in my view, never been a great offense. It's never been what people think it is or could be. My opinion, my view, based on those stats. But ultimately, I think it's both. Me personally, I think Kevin's offense is compromised. He can't adapt. And he's also running the offense with bad players. I think the difference is between me and Blake, I don't believe that improving the personnel is going to magically make the offense one that's capable of going head-to-head with the top teams in the league. I don't foresee Kevin Stefanski's offense ever being inside the top 10, and definitely not on a consistent yearly basis. But rather than focusing on the long-term outlook with Kevin Stefanski, what I want to focus on here, just to end this show, wrap this thing up for you guys before we do the preview on Thursday, I want to end with this. Not looking this week at the long term for Kevin Stefanski, but I want to focus on the right now, the here and now, the immediate. How does this Browns team respond this week? Not after a bad loss or something. We're not trying to see how you respond after getting your butts whooped, but how do you respond after issuing the butt whooping, taking the belt to ass to the Miami Dolphins? How do you respond after that dominant home performance? You are now on the road. Like I said, we have been abysmal on the road this season. You are going against a hot team, the 5-2 Patriots, an ascending young quarterback who is on fire right now in Drake May, and a head coach, Mike Vrabel, who not only is he a very good coach, he was also part of your staff just last year. Can you, Kevin Stefanski and the Browns, find a way to win this game in New England? Or if you lose the game, did you compete until the very end? Did they beat you just outright fair and square, or did you hand them the game during the course of action with turnovers, stupid penalties, mistimed things, poor game management? What was the recipe for the outcome of this game on Sunday? That's what I'm looking for right now with Kevin. Joel Bitonio talked after the game on Sunday about how Kevin got the offense fired up, got in their faces. Kevin said something about every now and again the Philly comes out of him. Be the Philly, Kevin. Be the Philly all the time, because your team is not fired up like that every week. And, Blake says, this team, I say they look unprepared and undisciplined. He says that's not true. You guys can let me know who you think is right on that regard. I've seen this team way too often come out, look flat, make mistakes, dumb penalties, mental errors, miscommunications. What do we look like on Sunday? What do we look like on the road in New England against a good team, good quarterback, good coach, good defense? How do we look after dominating a team just this past Sunday? So that's what I'm looking for. And let me know what you guys think about all this stuff. What do you guys think about Shador Sanders? Do you think he needs to be moved into the starter spot sooner than later? Do you think Dillon Gabriel just needs more time to develop? Or is this pretty much what we're going to get from Dillon Gabriel, especially in this Kevin Stefanski offense? There are guys open. There are points to be had on the board, but it just, even with Joe Flacco, with DTR, with all these guys, over the past couple of years, Deshaun Watson last year, the offense just turns into a dink and dunk fest. I don't know what it is. I don't know what they're being coached. I don't know what they're being taught to look for. I don't know if it's all on the quarterbacks. I don't know if it's just they suck or if they're just not being coached well. I don't know what the deal is, but we're going to continue to see how this thing plays out. Again, like I said, optimistically, there are wins on the schedule coming up. We just need to play good football and we can get those wins. So let's see how the rest of the season unfolds. Let me know what you guys think about moving forward in 2026 with Shador rather than using a first-round pick. Or is there a quarterback, Fernando Mendoza, Ty Simpson, Dante Moore, one of these guys in college football that you think that, would be worthy of taking in the first round for the Browns next year? I'm not there yet with any of these guys. Maybe you are. Let me know who they are. Again, I have not sat down and studied the film or the tape on any of these guys yet. So let me know if there's a quarterback or two in college football right now that you think the Browns should definitely be aiming to use a first-round pick on, or should we just use those picks on weapons and roll with Shador Sanders? Love hearing from you guys. Again, if you want to get into the Dog Pack, 24/7 conversations, direct access to us. You can DM us, message us, talk to us. We're in there all the time, shooting the crap, talking Browns, talking everything, fantasy football, all kinds of. There's a lot of fantasy football advice being issued in the Discord as well. So that's jointhedogs.com. Become an official Dog Pack member on the Patreon page. Sync up with the Discord. It's $5 a month. Really not a huge deal, I would hope, for you guys. Like I keep saying, you're donating a cup of coffee to the show one time a month. We appreciate it. It helps us out a ton. And you don't even know it's missing, but you get access to everybody in that community. And it's just a great place to be. So that's jointhedogs.com. I appreciate you guys tuning in to me on my Tuesday episode. I'll see you on Thursday afternoon. Oh, that's another thing. Thursday at 3 p.m. or whenever my kid takes a nap, has kind of been the recent schedule. I do the preview show, Dog Pack Discord Live. I get in there. It's like a live call-in radio show. You get to attend and come on stage as Discord stages, ask questions, give your opinion, your perspective on the Browns. Whatever you want to talk about, you come up, we talk, and we preview the upcoming game. That's every Thursday. We shoot for 3 p.m. Eastern. Again, it's starting to turn into whenever my kid's taking a nap and my wife's working. We just kind of do the show by ear, but it's always on Thursday. The Discord is where that happens. So again, that is also at jointhedogs.com. I will see you guys on Thursday afternoon for the preview show. Hope you have a great week. I'll talk to you then.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dogs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at The Dogs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at thedogspodcast.com.
This episode is sponsored by ISSA. Browns fans, if you're into health and fitness, have you ever wondered how you could maybe turn those hobbies and your passion into an actual career? If that sounds interesting to you, then ISSA has the opportunity you've been looking for. ISSA is the International Sports Science Association, and they can help you become a certified personal trainer in as little as 3 months. And right now you can get $100 off your certification when you sign up through our link, joinissa.com/dogs, DAWGS. Now, certifications are 100% online, self-study, and self-paced. You can study anywhere from your phone, tablet, or computer, and the final exam is open note, open book, aka piece of cake. Except you fitness nuts probably don't eat a ton of cake, so let's just call it a piece of delicious protein bar. And ISSA has the #1 job guarantee in the industry. If you get certified and sign up to be a certified trainer with ISSA, you have a job guarantee or your money back. ISSA has over 10,000 gym partners that have over 73,000 open jobs for trainers right now. And you don't need a 4-year degree or a 2-year degree. You just need your certification to qualify for these jobs. So what are you waiting for? With certification this simple, there's no excuse not to pursue your passion and become a certified personal trainer today. Get $100 off your certification at joinissa.com/dogs. You've wanted to make a change long enough. Now it's time to do something about it. That's joinissa.com/dogs for $100 off your personal trainer certification.